One, two. So Rebecca, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
You good? Yeah. So we're doing name, place of origin,
Okay.
and
My name is Rebecca. I'm originally from New York, and I am black. I am black. Okay. But I just wanted to speak on the piece of making sure that we are educated about what slavery meant in Africa. Also, because I've had people come at me, I'm sure some of you have had it too. White people will be like, it's a little known fact that Africans sold their own people. And just to be able to say, yes, except that this is really what was happening. You know, like just so that, I don't know, it's just, that's happened to me so many times in my life, and I'm always like, things fall apart. Just, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so we actually taking notes, so we're going to expand on exactly what, and that's what I touched about a little bit. We're going to expand into that, and we're going to go into the real history, so we can discuss that.
Hi, my name is Zara. I'm originally from Sudan. And so just kind of speaking on that, I understood that while I was raised here, going back to Sudan and seeing how they think about people, especially African Americans, they definitely do love the Beyonce and the hip hop, and they love that American side. But one of the issues I definitely saw is that they do have kind of, they haven't healed yet, especially even before the British colonization. Arabs did come into Sudan.
The Kush, right?
Yeah, exactly, the Kush. And we even got the name Sudan from the Arabs, which means land of the black people. So they just came down, saw a bunch of black people, and that's what they named the country.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And so Sudan was one of the most diverse areas for black people throughout all shades, from light tone to, you know, everything in between. And so after the Arabs definitely came in and put it quote unquote as masters and sold slaves as well. And then again, in that specific area, the families weren't separated. They were still able to come together, but they were still slaves. And so when the British came as well, they already, many Sunnis people already believed that being light-skinned like the Arabs was going to take them away from that low place. And so when the Queen came and was like, I'm going to be ruling this area, that's another kind of suffering that they went through. And so I can see a lot of the things that they're going through today, especially even coming to America, and suffering through depression because they are now going to an area where they are the minority. Even if they were light-skinned or anything like that, they are seeing how it has impacted people and just kind of going through a lot. So I think discussions like this are definitely
And actually, I want to put it out there. If you go to ancient African civilization, the Sudanese, the Kush, they are the most people that we all have to be proud of. They had the best military, whatever you can mention about in Africa. They fought the Greek, they fought the Romans. You know, they did a lot of great things. And as we go down there, we'll touch about all of that. But they are the group of Africans who have suffered the most among all black people in the world. But we can talk about that as we go.
we have one right
Right.
here, and then you can be after. Yeah, you.
Oh, is it me?
Thank you.
I'm Danette. I'm a military brat. I'm kind of from all over, but I've been in Denver for like 15 years now. And I was just wanting to share my thoughts on growing up in a Christian home. My father was a pastor. My grandmother was a missionary. And I grew up in a small Southern Baptist church where I'm pretty convinced we weren't exactly practicing Christianity to some degree. And I remember my first time going to a white church and realizing it wasn't even just about black and white. It was just we are doing something absolutely different in the woods. And just like lots of superstitions. I would grow up with my grandmother, telling me stories. My great-grandmother learned to read with my father. She was born a slave. But they were able to maintain so many stories. And so that's where I got my identity. I'm very much American, but I just know that there's definitely a different part of me. And so I've always embraced African culture, whatever that may look like, because that just felt more comfortable than anything else I had been presented with. And maybe I grew up in a bubble because, you know, a Southern Baptist, or in my case, Kojic, was a very small bubble. But, you know, wearing African clothes and sprinkling a little something of this or boiling something of that, that was like normal, you know, even under the guise of, you know, Jesus or whatever. So that's all right.
And when she would make these comments, you know, it would piss me off, to be honest with you. It would piss me off when she would make these comments, but she could not receive what I had to say, and she had this idea of who we were as black people in America. And she had her mind made up about who we were. And I thought to myself, even all those years ago, until they call you nigger, because it's gonna happen. I knew it was coming. I knew it was gonna happen, and it has. So we had a conversation. Her daughter is distraught. The conversation came up because as we were at dinner, she said to me, Marilyn is 19, a freshman in college. Like I said, these children are brilliant. This girl is in school to be a neurosurgeon. She's never been on a date. She's never had a boyfriend. She thinks she's ugly. She said the prettiest girls are the mixed girls, then the white girls, and the black girls on the bottom. This is what this young lady thinks. It's a young girl. And this is what she thinks. I could relate to that because I didn't grow up being taught that. I didn't feel that way about myself. I grew up in a community with all black people, black principals, black teachers, and through all of you. So I couldn't relate to that. But I explained to her where that came from. And she's got this roommate that's using the N-word. And she told the girl, when I talked to her, she said, I did tell her it makes me uncomfortable, I don't like it. She's not calling her nigger, but she's using the word like in conversations. And she says she forgets, and that's why she lets it slip sometimes. And then Francis, her son, said, when we were having this talk just a few weeks ago, she was home from school, they feel like they can use the word because of the rappers. Francis, now they are at Colorado Academy. There ain't a lot of black people at Colorado Academy. The white girls are already all over Francis. He's a superstar in soccer. So Lydia said they coming and picking him up, grabbing him around. They're already all over him. But her perception of who we were or who we are was so low. She looked down on black people and Latinos so much and wanted so badly to assimilate and be like the white people, live in their neighborhoods, be their friends, eat in their homes, and not really have anything to do with us. And that was her reality. Now I went on a yoga retreat to Ghana over the summer. And that for me was a beautiful experience. And it was a spiritual experience, but what it made me understand, what I felt was, I understand why I never felt completely whole and comfortable in America. You know, I live, I exist, I work, I eat, I function, but I ain't never really felt all the way whole. So when I went to Ghana and I said, oh, those black people, I said, I see why white folks are scared. Because there are a lot of us. This is just Ghana. Right. You know. So, but the feeling I got in my spirit from being there, the wholeness that I felt, the love that I felt, fun. You know, it's like, and that was, I was there from August 31st to September 13th, and I haven't shaken it. It's still in my system. It's still like I'm yearning to go. So it's like something happened, you know? And so my goal, and what I'm doing now is working on running yoga retreats to Ghana, because I am a yoga teacher. So that is my goal, is to bring black people to the continent so that they can have that experience, because now I understand why I've always felt the way, because a part of me was missing. And I couldn't have articulated it like that until I went there and had the experience. And I know black people, they just need to go. They need to experience it, go there, take their children. They must have that experience so they can have a full understanding of where they come from and why you feel kind of lopsided here most of the time.
1 year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Y'all all got your numbers? This is 1. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sound good? You're gonna go now. Yeah,
So,
she got the phone.
thank you for what you said. We call it you got hit by the bus, and that's how it is. Anytime an African American goes to Africa, I know somebody who would never want to come back anymore. So that's good to share. Africana seeks to do that, create a space where we can all visit Africa. It looks like Ghana is common with all of us, and from there, so we can go to Ghana to be our first.
My comments are very brief. I have 2 points I want to make. I think all the issues we're talking about today, this is all systemic, and we have to be real about that and be real about the external forces that go into it. It's no accident that we don't know our history here in America. It's no accident that the folks in Africa don't know our history here, and vice versa. So those factors lead me to my next point, which is that education is going to be the key to all of this. I know, you talk about Afrique Mall, 8 months. We have to start asking those questions. Who went into Afrique Mall? Who supported Afrique Mall? Who didn't support Afrique Mall, right? The folks who are not in this room, right? It's the education piece that we have to have outside of the people who are not in here. Because the people in here, I love y'all, right? But we all agree that this conversation needs to happen and that we need to move forward. But to be real about it, the people that need to have this conversation and need to be touched by this conversation are not here, but we know them. And so my thing is a personal challenge on everybody that, go to Africa, absolutely. I remember my first time going to Kenya, and that car hit you moment where you realize this is home, this is what I've been looking for. That happens. So make Africa your next destination the way you make LA your next destination. But if you can't do that, go and talk to some people about these things. Like, that's the only way we're going to dig into this stuff. You know people at home, you know people out in the streets that don't have any idea, just the same as the folks in Africa don't have any idea about the slavery that took place. You got kids here in Park Hill and 5 Points who don't know how slavery really played out or how it plays out today. We need to talk about this stuff and be real about it in our own communities, with our families, and with our friends, so we can make that live. But,
my name is Maria Nagawa. I'm from Uganda. I'd like to comment on the brainwashing comment.
Yeah.
I think it happens both ways. It's not just Africans. And so it creates this dynamic where Africans don't want to resemble African Americans, and African Americans don't want to resemble Africans. Because we're all on the ladder to whiteness. We all want to be like the European. And so I'll give the example of my friend recently who wants to get an Oscar. And I'm like, why do you want to get an Oscar? She does great work. And it's because we've been convinced that we need approval. We need validation for white people to achieve our full humanity. So I think both sides need to stop scrambling on that ladder to become more like the white man and start to recognize each other.
My name is Mo.
Hello.
My name is Mo. I'm from the U.S., originally from Chicago. Did most of my growing up right outside Minneapolis. Lived in Milwaukee for a while, now I'm here. I came here not really knowing how I could contribute to this conversation. Just going to kind of bounce off some of the comments I've heard from multiple people about communication, the brainwashing, religion really. I don't know black side of my family whatsoever. I'm half black, half white. I grew up in pretty much an all-white home, and then my dad is Native American, so I kind of learned or grew up in a Native American home. My mom was not religious whatsoever, so we were given the choice to kind of research different belief systems and stuff like that, and I just kind of didn't really connect with anything. I was more of a learner. I just liked knowing really about different systems and different cultures and stuff like that. But going off of the brainwashing, and I think that it's just going on communication really. Up until recently, I felt very disconnected to the black community because I didn't grow up in a black household. The communities that I grew up in, my friends, I have a very diverse friend group, but I always felt this disconnect, like I couldn't connect to being black because I'm mixed, or like the slang terms, like I've been called nigger, but I don't say nigga because I feel like I can't say that, or what I'm trying to say.
Take your time.
So up until recently, as I've kind of come to discussions like this, I feel very, also I want to say I'm very thankful for this discussion and being invited and you guys facilitating this, because I feel like communication is really key. I feel like I couldn't have, or at least when I was younger, because, you know, I was focused on other things, you know, when you're in school, I didn't feel like I could really have these types of discussions with a lot of my friend groups, because these weren't the types of discussions that they were having, and it was hard to really connect with people. I think also going off of like the beauty scale, that your friend, her daughter, is being called the N-word by her roommate, and then you said that she believed that there was these levels of different races as to who was more beautiful. That makes me sad, and it's I think it's important for people like me to really connect with people like her, to make her feel beautiful, not just like, you know, she has a lot of white friends, but I think the people in the middle also, it's important to let them know that we connect with them, and we feel their struggles, I guess. I mean, it's going off of that, and I think that comes along with how mixed people have been exoticized by white people. I mean, but then, you know, we're discriminated against by white people as well. You know, again, like I said, I've been called the N-word by a white person, but then I've also, at the hair store, for example, this woman was there with her daughter, they're dark skinned, and the cashier mistook me for her daughter, and she was offended and said, no, these are my children, they're pure, and that hurt me too. Yeah, so that was the point where I realized, like, wow, this colorism that I'm experiencing right now is because of this disconnect and this lack of communication between these, you know, different, I guess, the subgroups of the colored community, and how we need to bring people together, and that's why I'm here. Hearing all of your comments has really opened my mind to really understand all your different points of views, because again, I'm still pretty ignorant to maybe some of the things you guys have experienced. I don't even know what kind of black I am. I'm trying to figure that out. I have a, you know, a journey of self-discovery, really. And then, yeah, I just wanted to say really thank you to all of you.
You know, we're this, we're that, and at points and times to a lot of people, it is crushing. It is really crushing. It really brings people down. And so I wrote this poem in order to shed a light to everybody who hears this poem, because I want them to feel where I'm coming from, as a sense of, I am this person, I am this human being who lives in a country that doesn't care about you, who lives in a country where they would rather see him locked up, who lives in a country where success is given to us at the end, and we're not really able to get that success unless we do know, you know, other people who have those connections. You know what I mean? So it's really important to me that I do find where I come from in Africa, because I know if I find that, I can feel whole, truly happy, truly aware of the being that I know I am. And that's all I have.
I'm very touched by my brother. As part of the vision that I mentioned earlier, what Africana seeks to do, exactly what he said is one of the things we're going to do. We're actually going to do a program to cater towards the young folks. To reach out to the young folks, because we believe that they are our future. So if we can get them in the roots, then they will find the right path moving forward. So I just want to put that out there. We're still trying to come up with visions, what this movement is going to do in the future.
Oh, yeah, no, I just wanted one more comment and then we'll talk more about Africa.
So I have so much, thank you guys for having me. Okay. My name is Shelly. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago, which is in the Caribbean. And I wanted to speak to what this lady said because I think it's a vicious thing that racism did to us all over the world.
It's doing
because coming from the Caribbean, I also came here with don't associate with those people, and I think a lot of my family still probably don't because we segregate, but that's worldwide though. It's racism that taught us before we even came here that we can't unify because that cannot be allowed. So being this space is so important. And what I have been to the continent. I have been to the continent and I have experienced everything. I found my spirit, I found my home, I found, oh my God, it was ecstasy, everything. But that and what I understand by going there and really diving into the community is what happened here in, what did you say, enslaved people happened there in colonialism. So it created a bigger divide because not only, I want to say mind raped, is happening over there as well. So we come already with preset notions, but what I want to say too, and what that brother said, the people that need to be here are not here. I speak to people from Africa every day, and they are apprehensive still. And I said, well, then you don't want to talk to me because I'm gonna let you know. But, you know, we gotta talk to people. We have to be that light that has to happen so that, like, I had, my family had me like, don't go to the projects. So I was like, oh my God. And I had to go to the projects because I had to see why I shouldn't go to the projects. So I'm different. But we have to go. We have to step across the line and say, I had a brother tell me recently that what happened to the Jewish people was worse than anything in the world. And so I was so hurt by that because I was like, then you don't understand. And this was a fellow from the continent, and so I had to school him and educate him.
And then we have my son who's a video photographer. And Asetu and myself.
Yes. And give it up for the barista who is making all of this. And thank you so much to Whittier Cafe for hosting this space. So like I said, we will be doing this again. We'll be doing this kind of introductory topic again, and then we'll be diving into topics like Black Panther, cultural appropriation between African and African Americans, and talking about whether or not that's a thing. We'll be digging into topics that you guys bring forward, so I'll put that on the list too. If there's a topic that you're like, I really need to have a conversation about that,